guys, welcome back to another video. The first ever One Piece TCG Bandai Card Fest Worlds tournament just finished about like an hour ago or so. And I wanted to make this video as quick as possible. It's just going to be a quick little short one to get this information out here and talk about the ban list real quick, because at the very end, like we were suspecting, they did release the ban list, and I think it's a little bit of some of what people were expecting and a little bit of like, oh damn, they went there, they did that, okay. So this is just a quick video to talk about it. Worlds was really awesome, but I'll do like a separate video talking about the tournament itself. And I did go on the first day, yesterday on Saturday, and that was really awesome, making a video going over all of that too, talking about my experiences. But for this, it's just going to be a quick video talking about just the ban list. So without any further ado, let's jump into it and let's take a look at what got banned. Alright, so as you can see on the screen, these are the cards that got banned. And to just clarify what the Japanese is saying here, it's saying the ban restriction list, the list here, and then as of April 1st, the cards below are essentially, it's a way of saying they're banned. They're saying that you cannot even allow up to one copy of any of these cards into your deck starting April 1st, 2024. And no, this is not an April Fool's joke. It's not some cruel twist from Bandai to mess with people. This is real. This is legit. Goto-san himself came on to do the announcement. And if you don't know, he's like the director for the One Piece card game, one of the main people who helped make it. And he actually gave a really, like, after announcing, he gave like a really heartfelt, like little a few words, like not a speech per se, but it was actually really moving. And you can tell that the guy really cares about it. He was kind of saying, you know, he knows this affects a lot of the people playing One Piece, and he just is very grateful for the success that One Piece has had at this point and how many people love the card game, and was trying to kind of like express his gratitude for that. And I would like to take a moment before we take a look at the ban list, because I'm sure a lot of the English speaking people didn't know what he was saying and just saw the ban list and that's all they're thinking about. This is a human, there are human beings behind these decisions, and they're trying their best to like do this to like make it good for all the players, and they're trying their best to like adjust in real time to make the card game fun and still competitive for everyone, right? So please keep that in mind before you just go like start shit talking everyone or just the decisions behind these cards, and like just stop for a moment and maybe think about why they're trying to make these decisions. If you don't agree, obviously that's totally fine. I don't even fully agree with like how small the list is. There could have been other cards that they could have included, but I think what they did, they tried to do their best, right? And at the end of the day, I just wanted to take a minute to explain that like the person, the director, the people behind that are like behind the scenes making this game are extremely passionate about One Piece and making this game. So I do want to just, you know, try and point that out as much as I can to people, and just know that like even if you don't agree with what's going on, they're trying their best, and it's coming from what I think is like the right place, and that's something that I really respect. And yeah, like the words that he gave after announcing the ban list were really nice, and you can tell that he really just wants to see the success of this card game and keep the longevity of it going and stuff, which is something that, as someone who makes a lot of content around One Piece card game, like that's something I really respect, and I think just the general player and fan would respect as well. But now to jump into the spice, yes, all of these cards are banned. So Sakazuki Leader, reject, and the Japanese, sorry, Great Eruption, Daifunka. I think the one that caught everyone by surprise is Great Eruption, because some people were thinking that Great Eruption or Ice Age might get hit, and because so in my opinion, and if you've seen my list or my video going over what I kind of like was predicting for the ban list or what I wanted to get banned, I knew there was a chance that Sakazuki Leader himself would get hit, but I thought they were just going to hit Houndblaze instead, so that people who love Sakazuki Leader can still keep using him. But you know, at this point, if you haven't seen Worlds yet, I'm sorry for, I guess, slight spoilers if you somehow don't know, but Sakazuki won. Guanrong went undefeated with Sakazuki. Congratulations to everyone at Worlds. Again, I'll be doing a different video on that, but just a shout out, congratulations to everyone. And like, yeah, the top 4 was Sakazuki. There was 11 out of the 16 were Sakazuki. I know there are other decks that can do well, but it's just like unequivocally, there's no denying it. Sakazuki in OPO5 at the very least is just ridiculously the best deck in format. And you saw it today. You saw it at Worlds, where it's like when you get the highest class of the highest class players playing a bunch of Sakazuki decks, Sakazuki's gonna win, right? So they just decided, I guess, I mean, just to ban him, just to kind of like not cut any corners, right? They didn't want to cut any corners. They didn't want to just ban Houndblaze and then have Sakazuki still be extremely overpowered, which I can also respect that decision, because we saw that happen in the West when they just did these weird like semi-strict bans on things like Rad, like the restrictions on like Rad Beam, banning Nami Searcher for a minute. It didn't do anything. It just made the meta like weird and confusing, and until they banned Newgate outright, nothing really changed. And when they banned Newgate, you got like a little period in North America or the West where like people were saying, you know, they were happy. The meta had changed. They finally could play some of the leaders they couldn't play. So I think they saw the success of that small time period and just said, you know what, for now we're just gonna ban Sakazuki leader. So I can totally understand it. And I'm sorry if Sakazuki was like one of your main or one of your favorite leaders to play. I never really liked Sakazuki that much. Like, he's really strong. I appreciate the leader for what it is. I personally don't like to play him. And as a yellow-green Yamato main, I'm actually a little sad to see him go, because when he was at the top, Yamato always had a chance to be one of the closer like top tier leaders, because Yamato has a great matchup in the Sakazuki. There are plenty of other matchups that I much would like, the other matchups that would be harder for me. When I would see a Sakazuki player, I'm like, okay, I have a good chance of winning this. Even with how strong the leader is, right? He still has weaknesses, you know. Zoro, Yamato, there's a few decks. Red Purple Law is kind of decent into Sakazuki, but just overall, right? The most consistent and powerful leader just in general. So he's got to go. Let's talk about Reject. Reject is one of the cards that I actually thought might get hit. I was looking at between Reject and Amaru, and I believe, I'm pretty sure I said in my video, like, if one's going to actually get banned, I think it's going to be Reject. And I totally understand why. Just if this card had only just been just a KO one of your opponent's 5 cost or lower characters, it would be awesome. And maybe they could even put it to like 3 Dawn or something with no trigger effect. This card is just, it's too powerful in too many different yellow decks. Like Yamato runs this, Katakuri runs this, Anel runs this. All the top tier yellow decks can run this, and I understand. It's just it's a little unfair sometimes when it forces your opponent to literally like like you have to try and keep yourself at 2 life, because the minute you go down to 1 life playing against like Katakuri or Anel or Yamato, then you know that Reject is on the table, and that if you don't have the proper defenses to defend, or you don't have the blockers up, they can just, you know, not trash, but hit you for 1 life. It is a damage, so you still can trigger whatever comes out of the life, but it's just so powerful. And the fact that it is only 4 Dawn, it can be paired with like things like Amaru and Reject is like a nasty combo, but it even leaves room for like stuff like a 5 cost ace from EBO1, the Rush ace. I mean, and Yamato, you know, you could like play Reject, put a Dawn on something, or have an extra Dawn open, still play ace, still use Yamato leader effect, and swing 9k with the Rush ace. Like, there's so many different options here. And again, it's so good in so many yellow decks, and I think this is just an overtuned card that was making it just making it a little bit unfair for certain matchups, where it's just like having the pressure of knowing and like having to play around Reject is really tough for a lot of matchups against yellow, like people playing against yellow. And honestly, this is the one I'm really sad to see go, because this was an extremely crucial card for yellow-green Yamato. Without this card, like, I don't know how well Yamato is going to do in the OPO7 and like beyond, just because Yamato does not have a lot of KO power, especially if you're not running Gidatsu or any of the Sky Island builds. So having that option to KO, like, honestly, I think it may seem strange, but in Yamato, I think you use the KO effect more so than the life, just because you're, you know, you're normally getting your opponent down to like 2, 1, or 0 life pretty easily just with the double attacks. And yeah, it was just, unfortunately, I don't think it was overpowered in Yamato, but I do think it was a bit overtuned in some of the other yellow decks. So I can see, especially OPO7 and Enel might just be best deck in format, if not one of the top 2 or 3 decks. So I do understand why they hit it, and yeah, it's this. I'm sad to see this go, but I can understand the reasoning behind it. Now, moving on to the last card, we got Great Eruption, and this one I do understand, because when you hit Sakazuki, that leaves a gap, right? It leaves a gap for decks like OPO6 Moria and OPO7 Lucci to kind of come up. And Moria, while he doesn't extremely rely on Great Eruption, a lot of them only run 1 or 2, or some even none. Ice Age is still really good for Moria, but the thing is like, Great Eruption is a great early tempo card that you use with Absalom, and without that, having to waste an Ice Age on something that's probably already only like 3 or 4 cost at most is... I know a lot of people are probably thinking like, well, Moria doesn't really use Great Eruption that much, so it's not going to hurt him that much. I think it's going to hurt Moria more than people think, just because Moria's the main thing, the strong points about Moria is that it has 5 life, and that it has great tempo early game, and it can kind of like set up a strong board, right? And you have like things like Perona that causes you to trash cards, and Absalom to get those early KOs off. But the thing is, when your opponent plays that 4 or 5 cost character, you really need things like Great Eruption and Absalom kind of combo there to get those characters off the board. And without that, you're forcing your opponent to use an Ice Age, like I said, on like a low cost character. And then they're not going to have the Ice Age later on in the game, or they're just going to have to, like, you know, use other cards in that slot. I do think Moria is still going to be really strong. Obviously, we didn't see 8-cost Moria get hit. I didn't think we would. I'm not surprised at all that 8-cost Moria did not get hit. I'm a little surprised that, like, I was expecting maybe... So that's it for all the 3 cards that got banned. There were no cards that got restricted. There was nothing else announced. And really quickly, I would like to say, these restrictions, these bans are, as of now, all we know is that this is for sure going to be Japan and Asia. We do not know if this is going to be in effect for the West at the beginning of OPO6. So you guys might get all the cards to play through, and then it might just be like once OPO7 or once EBO1 hits, maybe. I would maybe, just for now, this we'll hopefully know soon. I would really hope we know soon. But just for now, I would assume that this is going to take effect when OPO6 all hits the West. I would just start preparing yourself like that. Start building your decks around that, and do not... I don't know. It's hard to say, right? But just keep that in mind. Maybe don't start like practicing Sakazuki like 10 hours a day for OPO6. Maybe just keep that on the back burner until we know for sure. But yeah, these are the 3 cards that got hit. Just to quickly, before we wrap it up, I guess talk about some of the cards that obviously didn't get hit and that we thought might be getting hit. My personal card that I wanted to get hit was Beige. I wanted that bad boy to get banned. It didn't. I understand it's not a broken card. It is in my opinion like Kabaji, where it kind of just lowers the overall enjoyability of the game from losing from Beiges, and the fact that it can stop cards from like 9-cost Zoro from just attacking the entire turn. I do think it should have been a rest effect, like the new Zoro, the Egghead Zoro that came out in OPO7. But I can understand, like, without Reject, I guess it's okay to leave in some of the stronger cards. Obviously, Amaru didn't get hit, which, after thinking about it, Reject is the more, like, overall, I believe, better, like, more useful and more, like hurting. The card that hurts the most is Reject over Amaru. So that's good to know. I guess we can still use Amaru. That's the one saving grace for Yamato players, is Amaru is really, really good. And, you know, with Hody and Amaru still alive, then, you know, OPO6 Yamato will still be incredibly strong. I just think in the OPO7 format, Yamato was going to need Reject, so that's a little sad to see. We did, obviously, 10-cost Mom did not get hit. So Katakuri fans, rise up. I bet you're happy. I don't really have a dog in that fight anymore. I didn't like Big Mom back in the day, but it's whatever now. I don't think Katakuri is that overpowered. And without Reject, I think it's actually going to hurt Katakuri a lot. So Katakuri might struggle actually a bit. I think Enel is just going to be way better in OPO6, even without Reject, as crazy as that sounds. But yeah, Enel is still going to be extremely strong. And obviously Rebecca didn't get hit. That was the one card that I really wanted them to just restrict to 1. because Moria can use Rebecca. Not all of them run Rebecca, but even OPO7 Lucci can run Rebecca. I have now seen lists that are really strong that do run Rebecca. And obviously Houndblaze didn't get hit either. Onami didn't get hit. That was another one that people were probably expecting, but I just don't think... I think that card is only really amazing in Yamato because you can get the double attack banish. In every other deck, it's just like a slightly overtuned card, right? So I do appreciate that Bandai is not touching... If it's only slightly overtuned, like Lucci and Rebecca's on the fence for me as being more than just a slightly overtuned card. But cards like Lucci and Onami, I do believe probably should not get banned or restricted. It's just a really, really strong card that color has, and it's something you have to learn how to play around. And once you learn how to play around it, it's not as good as it initially was, right? A lot of these things take time, and they just take you getting used to all the possibilities of what can happen. It's the hard truth, right? Like, you have to, as a player, just like start learning all the possibilities of what these cards, what could be coming your way. Learn how to play around them the best you can, and adjust as best you can, and then you will find that like the efficacy of these cards does go down a little bit, but cards that are still really, really strong and overtuned are always going to be really strong and overtuned. And I think that's about it. I think that's everything that was kind of on the chopping block for me. I don't want to make this video too long, so that's going to be it. Let me know what you guys think. Were you surprised? Are you happy? Are you sad? I'm personally kind of happy to see Sakazuki going, even though, like I said, I'm a yellow green Yamato main, so it didn't really matter too much to me if Sakazuki goes or stays. But I do think it's cool that we're gonna just see like a lot of things change and mix up. I do think OPO7 is gonna be kind of wild. It's gonna be like, my early predictions are kind of like Enel is best deck in format, Bonnie is right up there too, Red Purple Law might be S tier now. Like, man, there's a lot of things that we just gotta wait and see. But I know, as for me, I'm going back to the drawing board. Yellow green Yamato is still my main in OPO7. We're gonna make it work. It's still really strong. It's still really strong. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm excited for this kind of new shakeup. But let me know if the cards you wanted to get hit got hit, or they didn't get hit, or what you'd like to still get banned, like how I still kind of wish beige got banned. I'm curious to know, and I hope you guys were able to watch Worlds. If you haven't, go watch it. It's an amazing tournament. I learned a lot just watching so many Sakazuki mirrors. I know it's boring, but if you're an actual, like, you know, if you like the gameplay and stuff, it is really, you can learn a lot from watching these matches. And yeah, that's it. So thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.